Halal meat, something so fundamental in our lives as Muslims and yet so rarely understood. So what is halal meat? Why is it important for us to understand? And who are the farmers behind this massive industry? We're going to be traveling to Shropshire near Wales and meeting with Rizwan. He's going to be showing us around his halal farm and abattoir. I'm personally very nervous. I've never been to a slaughterhouse before, and I'm very privileged in that I just buy my halal meat without really understanding where it comes from. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Islamic Relief. They're one of the biggest charity organizations in the world. And since being established in 1984, they've helped over 120 million people around the world. Right now, in time for Eid al-Adha, they're accepting Qurbani donations. With 1 in 9 people around the world experiencing chronic hunger, this could be your chance to really help those in need. So we're adding in the link below, please do check them out. So we've made it here to Shropshire. I'm going to meet with Rizwan and he's going to show us around both his farm and his abattoir. So I'm going to go meet up with him now.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome, nice to see you. Please come in.
So we're on your beautiful farm, mashallah. I guess my first question is, how did you and your family get into this business and why halal meat specifically?
Well, my parents were originally from Pakistan, from near Faisalabad in the Punjab.
Okay.
And they came over to the UK. My dad came over for a profession, but his uncle was involved in a few different businesses, one of which bought meat from this abattoir in Ireland. They actually ended up taking over this abattoir in Ireland.
Okay.
And that's actually where I was born, and so he learned the meat trade in the Republic of Ireland.
So you started off in Ireland and then you came here.
So they learned about the lamb trade, the beef trade, and then that was in the early 70s. And then in 1992, the opportunity came up to buy our farm here and our abattoir down the road.
I guess what exactly makes meat halal? Is it just the slaughter or does it start before that?
No, in the Quran, Allah tells us to eat that which is halal and tayyib. So what the animals eat is important. How the animals are reared is important. So our whole ethos in our company is no compromise on quality and service. And we want to buy high quality animals, which we get directly from farmers and also from the livestock markets. Yeah, so here, Jessica, when we have the livestock, they come in from farms and from farmers, and they're all kept in separate pens until they're scheduled for slaughter. So what happens is that we have an official veterinarian, again appointed by the Food Standards Agency. They just check to make sure that live the animals look healthy, and as long as they look healthy, then they're okayed for slaughter.
How long do they usually stay here?
Not long, like less than 24 hours, basically.
So you brought us here into this beautiful masjid. Can you explain how this masjid came to be?
My family have been here in Craven Arms in Shropshire since 1992, and the local mosque to us here was 45 minutes away. Wow. So what we used to do, there's a few families, we prayed in the front room of one of the houses, and then eventually this building came up for sale. Now we've got a alim, he lives here with his family, and his wife's an alima, got 2 children that go to school here. And then we built this extension to the mosque about 5 years ago now. We have a dome on top, so it's about having a symbol here for the community, but not just for the Muslim community, because we have opened it up to the wider community. We have Visit My Mosque days over here, we have interfaith events.
So do you think this is essential to the work you do in the abattoir then?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're providing halal meat for Muslims. Everything needs to be God-centric. So we need to be praying 5 times a day. We need to be thinking about Islam holistically in everything that we do within the business.
It's a very serious thing to provide halal meat for literally the entire community in the UK.
It's really important, Jessica. You know, as Muslims, we should be the best in our fields, both Islamically but also from a secular perspective. And it comes back to that hadith, Inna la kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves excellence in all things. And to enable that continual learning and development, I mean, I myself have done a master's in meat science because I wanted to understand all the scientific parts of it. But not only that, from a religious side, we've researched the Quran, we pulled out every single ayat to do with halal, every hadith to do with halal, we pull together, we compile it in a document. So these then become our reference points of how we match from a religious perspective or from a professionalism perspective.
Do you think the wider Muslim community is too ignorant about all of this?
It comes back to the trend of ethical consumerism, isn't it? It's about, and we know that, we'll be asked about 5 things when we pass away, and 2 of them is how you earn your money, how you spend your money.
A lot of people, Muslims and non-Muslims, will go inside an abattoir like this and be shocked, and want to become vegetarian or vegan. I guess, what is your response to that?
It's a very good question. Look, these days you can say that we overconsume everything, whether it's food, whether it's content, whether it's, everything is so consumer driven. But if you go back to the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it's eaten good quality but in moderation. They do have some legitimate concerns about the amount that's eaten, but it's about trying to produce things in a sustainable way.
Okay, so we're here right where the actual slaughtering is happening. Can you take us through the process and what exactly happens?
What happens is they come onto these conveyor belts, and the idea is you're trying to get the animal to come to the point of slaughter as stress-free as possible.
Okay.
So sheep in particular are flocking animals, so you try to get the first one to go, and then others will just follow behind it. So you try to use their natural behavior to get them to go where you want to go. So when it comes up here, then we have our slaughtermen over here, and what they're doing is that they're saying the tasmiyah, which is Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, when they're doing the slaughter.
They do that for each and every lamb?
For every animal, yeah. So that's fundamental. It's in the Quran that eat not on that of which Allah's name has not been pronounced. So it's really important that's done on every single animal.
Are there any requirements for the people who do the slaughtering?
So the slaughterman must be a Muslim, or it can be Ahl Kitab as well, but we only employ Muslim slaughtermen over here. And really they should be the most God-conscious person you can find. So doing their salah, being conscious of what they're doing in terms of this is it's an act to provide halal meat for Muslim consumers, so they need to try and do it with the utmost consciousness in mind. When he slaughters, he needs to slaughter it properly as well, so the knife needs to be sharp. It needs to be cutting the jugular veins and the carotid arteries in one go to try to spare any suffering of the animal. And then after the cut, you gotta allow the animal time for it to lose unconsciousness and for it to die. Every abattoir by law has to have meat inspectors.
Okay.
So they check that the offal there's no contamination on it, there's no pathology on there, there's no reason to reject it from a disease perspective. So this stamp over here, that is our unique number, 4451. And that stamp says that that's been passed fit for human consumption. So from a traceability perspective, we have the lot number and the carcass number as well. It's Qurbani time for us. So that's when the whole story of Prophet Ibrahim, and he has to sacrifice his son, and God replaced his son with a ram. So as a result of that, a lot of Muslims do the Qurbani, and we're slaughtering up to about 5,000 a day for
5,000 a day.
Yeah. We then speak to a lot of our butchers, a lot of the consumers, and then when Dhul Hijjah is announced, we start to then take the orders. Our Imam will read out the name at the time of the Zabiha at the slaughtering point. There's a special Qurbani ticket that gets printed off that also has the name of the person on whose behalf it's being done.
And then in terms of organizations you work with during the Qurbani season, I guess?
So we work with some great charities, including Islamic Relief. We've been working with them for a number of years. And the reason we like Islamic Relief is that they have very much the same quality ethos that we work with, in that we want to try to do the best quality Qurbani for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they want to give the best quality charity Qurbani on behalf of their donors. There's more and more Muslims in the UK that want to do some charity Qurbani in the UK. And through Islamic Relief, we then accommodate for those donors by buying high quality animals, slaughtering them, and then they go to UK food banks all around the UK.
What are some of the main misconceptions about halal meat and halal slaughter?
So from halal slaughter, people, particularly non-Muslims, think that welfare isn't a high issue in halal slaughter. Well, that's absolutely wrong. But slaughter, you can never make it look nice. It's about trying to do it the best way possible. We've done a lot of research, both scientifically, and we've had a lot of welfare scientists here that have seen how our processes are in terms of using animal behavior to try to minimize any interventions with the animals, so they're moving themselves into the places where we want to get them. You put them at the most ease possible. the vast reaction that we get from people that come and visit is that it's not as bad as they expected it to be.
That's exactly what I thought. I was really, really nervous coming in and expecting, just a madhouse in there. But I was actually very calm. Everyone was obviously very professional, and it was actually, there was blood, but it was very clean at the same time. So I guess what makes you most proud about the work that you do?
It's a great responsibility. Meat is a blessing. It's not something to be taken for granted. I feel proud that we're able to fulfill that responsibility, and I want to carry on the family tradition.
So we just spent the day with Rizwan, and honestly in the beginning I was really, really nervous coming here, and I was really afraid of what I would see in the actual slaughterhouse. But the whole process was really eye-opening to me, and for someone like me who lives a really privileged life in that I just buy my halal meat and take it home without even thinking about where it came from, I think there is a necessity in understanding not just what halal slaughter actually is, but appreciating the people like Rizwan who work behind the scenes to provide us clean, healthy halal meat. I think the benefits of halal meat, both physically and spiritually, the more we learn about it, I think we can actually become better Muslims as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Being Muslim. Please let us know what you thought about in the comments below. One more shout out to our sponsor, Islamic Relief. We're adding in the link below to their website, so please be sure to check them out.